Welcome to Redvee TV Instant Reaction, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season, following Saints 40-4-0 points to 4 for victory against Castleford Tigers here at the Totally Wicked Stadium this evening. Peter, that is more like it.
You went a wee bit Eurovision there, that was nice.
You went a bit Vidi Printer.
Nobody's used to us getting 40 on the board.
Yeah, that's it.
The back.
You're showing your age, video print, and so am I, by knowing what you're talking about. Listen, we played some rugby tonight. Admittedly, we've caveated it throughout the year. You can only play what's put in front of you. The opposition weren't great tonight, let's be brutally honest, but we've struggled against teams like that before.
And lost.
We played well tonight. We probably left some points out there. Again, that's maybe a little bit harsh. Another thing that's possibly harsh is when we get to the playoffs, we need better kicking percentage. But he only missed one bad one. He was unlucky with a couple of them.
We're going to come forward just in case the mic fails.
Okay, yeah, well, you don't want that because, I mean, I don't think anyone would make any comment on that. That's the important thing to remember. But listen, we played some good stuff tonight, scored some great tries. Glad to see George Delaney getting one. I think we've been waiting on him doing that.
So am I.
Someone had a bet, ladies and gentlemen. And
Minus 32.
very good. And the goal kicker we didn't know we needed, Sione Matautia.
I tell you what, if you were relying on Sione to kick that last one for a bet to come in, you'd have been nerve jangling. We talked in the week, would Wello have the balls to drop Wonga Blake? He's got big ones.
Yeah, he has. I think it's the right call. I think he's not as good as any of the lads who are out there tonight. He shouldn't be in that back line. And it's a brave call because you one injury, one suspension away from needing to bring him back in. But he probably does fall down the pecking order now, and he's behind T. Ritson on the wings. Centres, Ben Davies probably in front of him.
Agreed.
And that's how it needs to be. If you've got someone earning money from the club, it doesn't matter how much you're on, you've got to at least show heart, and you've got to show professionalism. And hopefully now with the group that we had on the field and the group who are in and around getting picked, we've got that for the rest of the year.
It looked like the band had come back together. When you look at the team we've put out tonight, essentially bar Sirenen coming back in, that's essentially your team until the end of the year if everybody stays fit and free of suspension.
Yeah.
Moses coming in maybe for Jake Burns, but I thought Jake Burns had a really good game tonight and did enough to keep him in the thoughts. I think the word that describes it for me tonight was hunger. Defensively, they really looked like they were working hard. The line speed was a lot better than we've seen in recent weeks. Now, although we put the stat out this week that we've only conceded more than 25 times this year, and a couple of them we've got absolutely banjoed. But the defence probably hasn't been the problem all year. It's been the attack. Listen, was it a bit clunky early on? Maybe. But there's a lot there to work with.
Yeah, I mean, Nick and I were talking in the train coming down this afternoon, saying, well, everyone might be a bit kind of on edge, worrying about the type of performance we get tonight. I said, get a couple of early scores, get everyone settled down. And we started with a zip, a zest and an enthusiasm for the work. We looked like we were enjoying it. The defence was great. I thought we were very unlucky to concede the try, despite them getting set after set that last 10 minutes. And even then,
it was one missed tackle from Sione.
It literally put the ball down on the last available green bit of grass before the white touchline prevented the try. So we've defended as well as we could. Probably left some points out there, particularly I think in the first half. But we're kind of splitting hairs a little bit here. But I thought the overall performance was good, and the hunger, the desire, the enthusiasm, especially in defence, and willingness to try things in attack was encouraging.
We've really looked nervous in recent weeks, haven't we? Or probably all season when if we've gone behind in the game and you're thinking, how are we going to score points? That's going to give us so much confidence tonight.
It should do. There are green shoots there to work with. And I think once we start throwing it about, again, you're caveating it with, it's not really a good Castleford team who've turned up tonight. But once we started throwing it about, we started putting points on the board, and you've got the likes of Matt Whitley, who starts showing what his game's about and has a miles better game than he's been able to, because we're playing to his strengths. We've got that where we're getting the quick play of the ball. The number of times George Delaney was finding his front in tackle. John Bennison, I think, got tackled and ended up on his front facing the try line so he could get up and play the ball quickly. You get that right and you're halfway there. The other half is that 5-10 maybe minute spell at the end of the first half where it's penalty, and we bring it on ourselves.
And that's where you'll get hurt in big games, isn't it?
Yeah, against miles better teams. I mean, we did get hurt because we conceded, and really we should be coming away from that game. I mean, one criticism is we should be coming away from that game without conceding, with the confidence of keeping your line intact, but we didn't. And we've been saying it throughout the season. You've got to learn from that. This is my criticism of today, that we've still had them moments where we are letting teams as weak as Cass were tonight. You do that against a Hull KR and they'll pick you off.
Interesting point. We were just discussing permutations for next week. Whether Saints can get a home semi-final. If Salford go to Hull tomorrow and win, that means Lee will be unable to finish fourth. They'll be 3 points behind Salford. In which case, Saints could pip Salford, given that Salford are going to Wigan next week. If Wigan win and we win, and Wigan will need to win to finish top. Will Lee put a full-strength team out, knowing that they can only finish potentially 5th or 6th? Or would they look to potentially rest people next week, which will increase our chances of getting a victory day?
Well, I don't think they will, and I'll tell you why. The dark horse we're overlooking here is Catalan, who have a home game against London and an away game against Hull FC. They will win both
This
of those
is
games.
why we have this man on.
Not just my rugged good looks.
Good point.
Thank you.
Well, not just his bronzer this week.
See, you've just ruined me theory that I've spent 5 minutes conjuring in my head.
There we are. No, but listen, they're going to stick a few.
Unless London do us a favour tomorrow.
Well, that would be funny. But I think Catalan are the ones who Lee have to be very careful of. Leeds have obviously get spanked tonight. Lee will be sore.
Leeds season is over.
Yes.
Saints are in the playoffs.
We are in the playoffs, and that's the minimum requirement. I don't think we should be getting the bells and whistles.
We shouldn't, but for the amount of people who've come on social media all year saying Saints will make the playoffs, we've made it with a game to spare.
And I think we should be aiming next week to put everything into it to get 4th place. It could be quite a titanic match next week because Lee must win. Because if Lee are beaten, and the other thing to remember is,
Imagine
We're going to win it, all right, Pete.
all right, Mama.
Imagine if we could. Don't break the mic. Blame him if it's gone off. We're still getting a green light.
Yeah.
Imagine if we could go to the league next week and just put them out of the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, we'd be terribly sad.
We owe them one. After the other week, we owe them one.
I think the players themselves will want to put that embarrassment to bed, and even if we go there and it's like 18-14 or something similar, that will matter more than that win that they inflicted upon us, because that will mean we've got a home semi-final and they are out of the playoffs, because Catalan would have to do something ridiculous not to win those 2 games comfortably.
If nothing else, it's an exciting time of year.
It is. It is. Was it every minute counts that they
Every
said?
minute matters,
Yeah,
I think
every
was
minute
there.
matters.
We've had about 5 marketing campaigns to replace that.
I was thinking of every second counts. The Paul Daniels. There's one for
Again,
the
you're
kids.
showing your
I
age
am showing
again,
my
goodness
age.
me.
Yeah, but
That's a bit of magic.
oh dear.
Zero, dear.
Stick to your scripted jokes. But it does make it good for the season. We were walking in and we said tonight, if we get beaten here, our season definitely wants taking out the back and shooting like a lame horse. Because that's what it's been like in the past couple of weeks, where we've not been getting tunes out of players that are out on the pitch. Those players have been letting themselves down by giving penalties away, stupid outs, tapping the ball and throwing it forward. I mean, come on.
But you get the band back together,
Yeah.
and it's a different type of glue.
This is where the green shoots are, though. The stuff that you can work with from that performance. It's not the finished article, but it is better, with the caveat that Castleford weren't very good.
Yeah.
John Bennison signed a new deal this week to remain a Saint for 2025. Has that definitely put the Bennison-Ritson argument to bed now, or is Ritson a little bit unlucky that he's not played in a team where the wingers have had any ball?
I said this to you before. Yeah. I bet T. Ritson is turning his hair out going, what have I got to do to get a bit of ball on this side? Yeah. But that's what happens when you have Sonny Matautia and Mark Percival as your centres. And the players that you can trust, the players you can absolutely trust. John Bennison, I know he's one of those squad players that seemingly is quite polarising. We're on record of saying he isn't a starting Saints winger. I'm quite comfortable backing that up. That I don't think he is. I think there's better out there. I think the thing that he brings to you is that little bit of versatility, and that you hear it all the time about how his work ethic in training and his attitude is right. I'd rather have that at the club than someone whose attitude is wrong and is disruptive.
We discussed this walking up to the ground tonight, and we were saying it looked maybe 6-7 weeks ago that he was on his way out of the club. We could be wrong on that, but he was completely out of favour. He wasn't getting a sniff, and then all of a sudden, Wonga Blake starts cacking the bed. And is that bad? That have we re-looked at it and gone, do you know what? I'd rather have a solid John Bennison than.
Well, you mentioned the attitude, and I think if he's not played a lot in recent weeks and months, and he must have shown the right attitude and the right application in training to be considered, which speaks volumes for him. Because as a young guy, he might have thought, I'll get myself out here, maybe go and try and get a move to another team. But he thought, no, I'll knuckle down, even though he knows next year that he's behind the two new wingers that we've signed, and also Harry Robertson is obviously challenging Jack at fullback, but he's there and he can cover a number of positions.
Yeah, and you can see how many injuries you get, how many suspensions you get. You're still going to get 12, 13 games a year generally, aren't you?
Well, see, that's the thing, and if he wants 10, 12, 13 games at Saints, or does he maybe want 18, 19, 20 games at Hull FC? I think, you know...
Nobody wants that.
Well, exactly. Yeah, certainly looking at their squad, quite a few of them didn't want that this year either. But guys like that.
Jordan Abdul and Aidan Caesar, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, right, Tommy Makinson.
Yes.
He was always going to go over for a try tonight. I thought it might have been a little bit forward, but absolutely legend of the club. Got a standing ovation from the crowd. Everyone to shake his hand. Got a guard of honour, and then he could be back in here 2 weeks doing the same again.
But it's too big a game then to sort of have something planned, something ceremonial, and I think we had to do it tonight. And just as a general statement of it, Tommy, I remember back in 2011 when he made his debut. Who's this guy I've never heard of? Everyone knows him now. He's been absolutely magnificent for Saints in every aspect. How he carries himself, how he represents the club, how he plays in a number of positions, the tries he scored, the goals he's kicked, the effort, and you know the feeling that he has for the club and the town. He wears that badge with pride, and that even when he has a very, very occasional disappointing game, no one notices because he's just putting in so much effort and leadership, and embodies everything that this club is about. And the fact that he's leaving and we're all disappointed, no one blames him for taking a bit of money, getting a bit of sun in his back, playing in Catalan for 2 years. And I think we'll actually smile if he scores against us. That's how much we love the guy and we'll miss him.
All right, let's not
push it. What's about to say? We're going to boo him when he gets sent off here next season.
He used to play for a big club. No, when we talk about attitude, you can look at Tommy Makinson as someone to hold that as part of his character.
How quick did he look tonight, by the way?
Yeah, he looked rapid.
He looked
weeks off.
And he looked as... Yeah. That is the fittest he's looked all year long.
To be honest, after Peter's been on holiday, I bet he'd look quick as well.
I wouldn't go that far.
But, yeah, a couple of weeks off, listen, he's enforced. But it just makes... It probably just rests his body right in for this playoffs.
Yeah.
As I say, his attitude, his application, what he's done for this club, he owes us nothing. Correct. And it goes with our well wishes 100%. Until he rocks up back here, in which case he can get the silent treatment.
And I think some guys, you mentioned John Bennison. John Bennison only needs to look at Tommy Makinson to see how to hold himself as a professional player. I think that's the highest compliment I can play Tommy's someone who other players in that position should aspire to be.
Sione, another one who's going, kicks the obviously last kick tonight. I thought he was excellent at centre. I wonder whether that's it till the end of the year if we keep him there.
Oh yeah, you're not going to throw anybody else in there now. No. Connie's injured until the end of the year, so that's not happening.
Rumours that Connie might be in the squad or available next week, and if not, would be for the first playoff game. But I think Connie takes too long to get fit to risk it.
You've just taken the words out of my mouth. I don't see Connie being ready enough. And you'll invariably get people then now saying, well, playing second row, he's not fit enough to play second row. He's a centre. He always has been a centre, always will be a centre. He's not fit enough to be a forward. I'm saying that me and my physique. But
let him run the water. Imagine the cheerleading you get from him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. I'd stick with Sione and Percy in the centres.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it. That's my angle on that. The only thing I would say is, come to the playoffs, Cyril comes back and that gives us a wonderful problem.
I wonder whether the change you'd make would be Sirenan for Batch, maybe?
Possibly.
Batch to the bench?
Well, Batch gives you a couple of options that you can play anywhere in the pack. So that's a possibility. The issue then is, who do you lose off the bench? Because then you're losing... You're obviously going to have James Bell on the bench.
Mm-hmm. I wonder whether you try and get 80 out of Clark. And don't have...
Possibly, and don't have a... And your backup hookers, Morgan Knowles.
I'm going to be honest on that. I'm going to disagree with you in all respect, because Moses covers the halves as well. We can't have that. If you're asking me, it's Matt Whitley misses out.
Isn't it weird having this situation where you've suddenly got options
and
you're not just trying to cobble a squad together? Now, just to finish off, I'm convinced those lads are going to go in that changing room tonight. And I know, listen, I fully get it's Cass, a depleted Cass side, but those lads won't have had that sort of great feeling maybe since Good Friday, games last year, early in the year when winning World Club Challenge. It's got to be in the back of their minds now that, do you know what, lads, we can do this. It's going to be tough, going to be really hard, backs against the wall. 2014, you'll never back against Saints in a one-off game. Can we do it 3 or 4 times in a row? And essentially our playoffs start next week.
Well, this is it. I think we've got to start somewhere. Is probably the best way of looking at it. Yes, it's a depleted Cass. Yes, we probably left points out there, but it's a starting point. Next week will be a big step up, especially away from home against a team that will be desperate to win, will have to win, and that'll test, I think, the mettle, the defensive attitude, and our resilience when we're under pressure. But if we can come through that, and we can beat Lee and have a home quarter final, other teams will start to think, we've written this team off too early, and they're going to be the team people want to avoid.
Is that the best thing for us next week? Actually having that tough game against Lee, where the pressure is off now. If we win, fantastic, we get that home game. If we were to lose, do you know what? It's a free hit a little bit, but it'll set us up nicely for the first round of the playoffs.
It will set us up nicely. It'll match toughen you, really, and then you've got potentially 3 cup ties that you've just got to go out. And on about the lads in the changing room there, it wouldn't surprise me if they're not saying, right, you leave everything out there against Lee because we want the home one, then you leave everything out there in the next game, and that's what we've got to look at, because there's 4 potential games until the end of the year. You leave everything on the park, and in 4 games time you can have your week off, you can have your summer holiday, well, your winter holiday, you can go and have your downtime, you can go and have your Mad Monday. Let's do that in 4 weeks rather than in 2 or 3.
To the gentleman on social media who said we wouldn't win another game this season and bet a £20 charity bet, I look forward to seeing your donation to a fantastic cause in Willowbrook Hospice. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. The Saints are back, and we will be next week as well.